Alright, so Emily, I'm going to try and give you a quick rundown of how I incorporate the pedometer logs with the pedometers for the kids in class and how they record their steps. So one, I get a record of all of the kids' steps from that particular day in that class, and also a copy of each student's entry will also go to their individual spreadsheet or their individual pedometer log. So what I've got here set up in my Google Drive, I'm going to go to my physical education folder. I keep all my PE stuff. Let's see, pedometer logs. And now here, what you see here is you'll see this colored sheet with these little runners on it, and that's the main entry form that the students will see. And then all of the data that they put into that form will then come on this spreadsheet, and I'll be able to see all their data. And then I run a script on this data, a Google script, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with Google scripts, but I've got one called Sheet Spider that takes all the data from the main sheet that the students put in. It puts it on one response sheet, and it also then takes each student's individual data and puts it in their own spreadsheet, which is kind of cool. And so I can have, this is Mrs. Marsh's second grade class. So Mrs. Marsh's second grade class has a folder up here. When I open it up, it has each individual student in that class. It has a spreadsheet for them, or a pedometer log. So to kind of give you an idea, I'll just run through one here, kind of fictitiously. Alright, so basically this is how I made the form. Just titled it Second Grade Marsh. When I did this one, I just used a multiple choice. I cut and paste all the student names for that class, and then I was done with that question. I made that question required, which is why there's an asterisk next to the select your name, because they have to pick their name, otherwise they won't be able to submit a step count. Then they have to put their steps in. Now this is how I created it. And then if I was to view this form live, this is what the kids would see. So the kids see this little graphic at the top of their iPad or their laptop computer, whatever you have, and it has a list of all the student names on it. Alright, so they pick their name. Alright, so let's say my name's Alex Urban. I'm going to click my name. I'm going to go and I'm going to punch in my steps. Let's say I got 1,500 steps today during PE, and I'm going to submit that. And as soon as they're done, they're going to click submit another response, and I just have them hand the iPad to the next student, and the next student takes it and they click their name, put their steps in, hit submit, and then they give it to the next person. Now, after I've submit that information, it'll show up on this spreadsheet here. So you'll see the person's name, student name right here, Alex Urban. You'll see his number of steps that he put in, and it also comes up with a timestamp, a time and date. And then you'll see every student in your class, period. So you may have 25 students or so in that class, and you'll have a list of them all on that day. The next day they come in, obviously you would fill up these rows down here. Now, not only do all of them come to this one main sheet, because that's kind of a lot of data to kind of sort through at the end of the week or at the end of the grading period, or however you want to do it. So I ran a script called Sheet Spider, and basically Sheet Spider takes all this information from each student and it pushes it out to its own spreadsheet, so that each student also has their own log. So it's kind of making a duplicate copy. And so Sheet Spider creates a second sheet. It looks like this. And so it has a Google Doc. It assigns a spreadsheet ID, which is a Google Doc that's linked to Alex Urban, right? And that Google Doc, if we go back to this view here, is in this folder. I click on Alex Urban, and I can see his information here. It's time stamped, it has his name, and it has his number of steps in there. So I've got all the information here on Alex, and every time Alex puts an entry in PE, his record will show up here. All the dates down the one column, his name in the second column, and all of his steps. And so, I see the kids for 2 times a week for PE. So, I may do pedometers one time per week. I might use them both days. I might not use them any days, just depending on what activities we're doing. And at the end of the quarter, I'll have a list of 15, 12 different entries for him. And then I can easily, analyze this data by see what his average number of steps are. I could see, compare him to the class average by going back to the main sheet and looking at the data for the entire class, seeing what the class average is, and seeing how he rates compared to his classmates, if he's moving more or less, see if he's highly active, that kind of thing. So that's kind of basically how I do it. The sheet spider thing is a little complicated. A lot of the teachers just like to have, they just like to see this form. This is kind of what they're looking for. Some way for them to, students to put their name and hit their steps and submit it. And then for those, for that information to go to one spreadsheet here. And it will all go to one main spreadsheet. And like I said, running the Sheet Spider app will also allow it to go to the individual's spreadsheet like this. This is Alex's spreadsheet. So it goes to his as well. So it kind of marks it in 2 places. So I'm not sure if that makes sense, but hopefully it kind of gives you a visual of what the kids see. All right, what you see as a teacher. You'll have a list of everybody's responses, and you can also see each individual kid has their own spreadsheet set up within a folder. So that's kind of how I set it up. Put a folder in my Google Drive, pedometer logs, and I've got each class has one. So I've got one for 2nd grade Marsh, one for 2nd grade McGowan, 3rd grade, 3rd grade, 3rd grade. So these ones are all the actual forms for my classes. And then these are the response sheets that go along with the form. So student form, teacher form that you can view. And then if you go up into the corresponding class folder, you'll be able to see all the individual kids, just their own. So that's something you could send to home, or you can print out, give to the kid, share with parents at teacher conferences or whatever. So hopefully that gives you kind of an idea of what I use the pedometers and how I track the data. If you got any more questions, I'm looking forward to talking to you next Friday on Halloween. Have a good one.